Hey, it's Marthea Pitts, the MSW coach. And I'm back again for another episode of Macro Social Work Your Way. So today is Saturday, it's beautiful outside, and I work on Saturdays, I work on Sundays as well. And so this morning I met with someone who scheduled a career strategy session and helped them strategize. And then I'm working through my list of things to do. And I kind of have gone down the rabbit hole on something, but it's never a wasted moment for me because I always land on something that helps me better help you, right? So I just made this discovery and looking in my tons of notes around um, career intent, right? But how I want to explain this topic is a lot of what you are feeling in your personal and professional life may be attached to your career intent. So, I sketched out some notes that I want to talk about. This conversation will be especially pertinent to you if you feel stuck, right? If um if you feel stuck, if you are in a place in your life where, and this can be life, it can be most definitely professional, but like I always tell you all, whatever you're experiencing in your professional life, you will feel it in your personal life. As much as people like to act like they are two separate worlds, unfortunately, they are not. So this is for my people who feel as though or question why you are unable to move from like that survival mode into your thriving season. Um, and what I'm going to share with you is the differences between feeling stuck and like the differences, the characters and behaviors between people who feel stuck and those who are thriving in their professional life. Um, and how to recognize your hidden potential, and how once you tap into that potential, how it can impact your career journey outcomes tremendously. So I was looking into well, let me first ask this question, right? Have you ever felt that you needed to keep earning more certifications and credentials? So that can be degrees, it can be licensures, it can be those one-off training courses that you take. Maybe you are in a place in your life where you're like, I just need to go back and get another degree. I know I always talk about it out loud, and it's usually a lot of emotion behind it. But today I've been very self-reflective about this thing because I do spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to better assist you all and how to really help you move from one place in your life to another. So maybe you've been in a place where or maybe you're currently going through it now, where you find yourself looking through degree programs and researching degree programs. Maybe you have submitted some applications. Um, Even though you already have a undergraduate degree, a graduate degree, maybe you have several undergraduate degrees, maybe you even have several graduate degrees, because I know that is a trend for many social workers and helping professionals. And so I wanted to say that to ask the question, have you ever felt the need to keep earning more certifications and credentials to feel valued in the job market? I told a story one time how a social worker found me on the internet and she emailed me and she was like, I am planning to go get a doctoral degree in a few years because I feel, and she like also told me about what she had been doing for work in the like last 10 years or so, which is very closely related to what she wanted to do long term in her career. And she said that she was at a point where she felt as though she not needed, had to go get a doctoral degree to essentially, my words, legitimize her in this area of her career that she has set her sights on. So I name that to say, like, I've noticed a clear, distinct pattern because, like I tell you all, I pick up easily on themes and patterns. I've noticed a clear, distinct pattern among many professionals who stack up these credentials. It's not that you all lack career intent. And let me define intent. This is the rabbit hole I went on where I made the discovery of this term. I didn't know it was a thing. I know that I've been talking to you all about this for like the last 4 years, and I've been doing it the last 10 years of my career, but I didn't know it was a term. So career intent, because y'all know I love a good definition. One moment, I'm pulling up my 1001 notes. Career intent refers to the strength of an individual's commitment and determination to achieve specific career goals. It encompasses the clarity of their career vision, the proactive steps they take towards realizing those goals, and their overall motivation and engagement in their professional development. High career intent typically involves a deliberate and strategic approach to career planning, continuous learning, and personal growth, whereas low career intent often reflects a lack of clear goals, motivation, and engagement. So, how you've heard me talk about that over the last 4+ years since I've been officially on the internet, and I even was doing it 10, 20 years in my personal life, is where I talk a lot about about being proactive rather than reactive in your career. I also use the terminology a lot of stop waiting until the point of no return. I recently on a live talked about it in giving like comparisons between like if you're a clinical social worker and someone coming to you and wanting you to address 30 years of trauma in one 30-minute session, how that is impossible to do, right? So career intent is essentially you taking the preventative based steps, the steps that you should be making. And again, because I'm interested in the thing. These are things that are supposed to start in your middle school years, right? Scholarly research shows that students are supposed to be, in order for them to establish and really master the fundamentals of career planning and effectively navigating their careers, they are supposed to be introduced to conversations around career exploration. So career exploration is what can they do in the world based on their interest, skills, education, and experience, right? So I say that to say, like, career intent for you should have started in middle school. However, there's a, a huge issue on the macro level. Well, there's a huge initiative effort on the macro level to address this because, like we know, it doesn't happen. Right. You may get conversations about careers in high school, and even that is not where it's supposed to be because depending on what you look like, what color you are, your socioeconomic status, the city that you live in, your geographical location, the human capital makeup and capacity of your school district or your school, the funding that they receive from the federal level, all of the things, you may have not been exposed to that conversation. And if you were, it may have been like tainted with people's implicit bias and all of the things, and they're telling you to go get, these types of jobs when you're saying, I want to be a scientist, right? We've heard very real stories like that. I've heard those. Um, but that was me jumping on my soapbox about career exploration because I'm super passionate about ensuring that middle schoolers get that in an equitable way because it's so foundational, right? So going back to you, present day. So because you did not get that prevention focused like attention in middle school, what will happen over time is that you don't know how to effectively navigate your career. So as a like quick, quick, tangible way that everyone knows of, that regardless of where you are, you go get a degree, you go get multiple degrees, you go get multiple different credentials, when in reality, You probably just, not probably, I know this to be sure. You just need to work on like your professional branding. You need to learn how to effectively career plan. You need to learn how to market yourself in the job market through your resumes. Um, you need to understand what experience you have is valuable to the types of organizations you want to target. You also need to learn how to use your degree over and beyond the broad professional group of social work, right? So getting back to the original question, since I've defined that for you, I've noticed a pattern among many professionals who stack up credentials. It's not that they lack career intent, right? Because clearly you've gone and gotten multiple degrees, you've graduated, you are clearly thinking about your career in some way, shape, or form, even if it's not the most ideal or the most impactful way to move you forward. You're thinking about it on a deeper level. You didn't just stop with your high school diploma. You're like, no, I'm going to go get another degree so I can advance in my career. However, the difference between someone with high intent, high career intent, and low career intent um, is a few different things. And I wanted to break those down for you, right? So, on the surface level, high career intent people are really futuristic in their thinking. They spend a lot of time thinking about how what they're doing today will better position them for what they want to do in the future. Even if you don't know how to get there, you still think about it, right? So when you go and get certification number 10 and you want to do organizational change, you're thinking about, okay, I need to go get an organizational change because it will help me get that type of job. However, there's still a gap there because you don't know how to effectively extract everything that you've done in your work life and put it on the paper and find the jobs that you want and bring yourself and translate your experiences in a non-social work way, but you still have high career intent. You're thinking about your career in a larger way. A low intent example of someone, we're going to stick to the social work profession only, is let's say that hmm, because I gave you the example of a degree. So I'm gonna have to compare somebody else. Right. So a low intent, let's stick with social work. So a low intent person will still have the degree, the same degree that you have. However, they don't think about their job past the job they're in right now. They don't seek out opportunities for advancement. They don't really, you're talking to them about going to get an additional degree. They don't talk in that way. They don't think about those things. For them, they are more focused on, and this is a better way to define it. Low intent people, specifically social workers, they focus on job titles, salaries, and career like security, job security. As long as it checks those boxes, they're good. A high intent social worker, they are focused on really getting in a place where they have tapped into their passions, their interests. Another example of like how I've talked about it in the past, a low intent person, a low career intent example is they will just take any job. This is a better example. See, I'm talking through this stuff as I've just learned about this terminology. So flow with me. It'll all come together. So a low career intent person focuses just on a job, any job, how I've talked to you all about it before. They are the ones that accept or take the first job that floats by, first job that someone tells them about, and they stay there for 10, 20, 30 years until retirement. They don't look for anything more. They don't, seek out anything more. That's their thing. And I've met social workers like that. I met a social worker last year who had been in her job for 15 years, I think it was. She had been there since graduation. And she was a traditional student, maybe 10 years, 12 years, and she had never looked for another job. And the way she got that job was because she knew someone that worked there and it was a job opportunity available. And she's just been there. She's been content. Um, and that was her thing until she ran across my stuff and learned that she has other options. Okay, Marthea, stay serious. Stay serious. Okay. So low career intent, that's what that looks like. High career intent, you have moved past just job titles, salaries. You've done that before. You now are looking for a meaningful, purposeful work. However, you still have a desire to scale in your career. You want to have more impact. You want to make even higher salaries, even higher salaries, right? So that's the difference. However, I pulled up I was interested to understand the difference between like the characteristics between the two, the behaviors and characteristics of the two. So I pulled those up. High intent characteristics of people with high intent is that they're goal oriented. They set clear, actionable career goals. They are proactive. They take initiative and seek out job opportunities. They're continuous learners. They engage in ongoing professional development. They're resilient. They overcome obstacles with determination. They are, and y'all know how I feel about networking, but we're going to throw this in here and I'm going to come back in at the end and like clean it up. They are effective networkers. They build and maintain professional relationships. So let me stop there for a moment. When I read that about effective networking and they build and maintain professional relationships, I took it as just how it's reading, right? When I read that, I'm thinking about the networking strategy that I teach my paid career coaching clients is to tap into the people that you already work with in your daily work, your day-to-day work, and use that as your way to network. So that would be case managers, leaders in different organizations that you're partnering with and liaisoning with. It would be other key stakeholder groups that all of you all utilize this one service from this one organization and you go to monthly interdisciplinary meetings. To me, that's networking. I don't interpret that as like the traditional way of networking that people know about, where you have a friend of a friend who's connected and get you a job, because I'm sure you've heard me go on my rant around networking is not rooted in equity. However, what I teach people, and I've done a whole podcast episode on it before, is how to network when you don't have a network. And that starts by tapping into you as a case manager, you have so many connections right at your fingertips, people that you talk to every day. I define that as networking. So I just wanted to give my little clarifying piece on that. Additional characteristics of people with high intent, they're self-reflective. They regularly assess progress and make adjustments. They are engaged and enthusiastic. They show passion and commitment to their work, right? So all of those special projects that you take on, all of those little committees and things that you do, that's your passion and commitment to the work, right? In the last 30 days, I met with quite a few social workers who have, even though it wasn't in their job scope of duties, their scope of work for their case management jobs, they have went out and sourced grants and created grant proposals and brought in millions of dollars to their organization. They have developed strategic partnership um, plans and opportunities for their organization that really has moved their local nonprofit from just being an average nonprofit to being seen as like best in class in their state. That was because of their passion. And they weren't getting opportunities to do that within the natural like scope of their work. Okay, so characteristics of people with low intent. Um, and I'm naming this, let me be clear, let me get a disclaimer. It's not to like point the finger at people with low intent. It's so you understand the difference between the two. right? And so you understand what it looks like, what those behaviors and characteristics are. So low intent individuals, they have unclear goals. They lack specific career objectives, right? So I always tell you all that one of the very first questions that I ask people when they schedule a free get to know you chat with me for 15 minutes is, what was the plan that you had when you hit apply on your MSW degree application, right? And this is how I got into this whole rabbit hole today, was because, and I keep looking out my window, is because I was really diving deep between the types of social workers who have come in through my micro to macro career accelerator program and really have achieved tremendous success. Um, like, what were those characteristics of them? So this is how this came about, because I wanted to understand that. So low intent shows up like unclear goals, lacking specific career objectives. They are reactive. They wait for job opportunities rather than seeking them out. So I talk to you all about that all the time around, you should not only be applying for jobs when a social worker shares a job post in a Facebook group or in a forum, or when someone tells you about it. You should be actively looking for employment all of the time, even when you have a job, even when things are going good. Okay. So low career intent, minimal they give minimal effort in learning. They have limited interest in professional development, right? So an example, because I'm thinking about this in real time. Last year, I did a lot of free workshops, a lot. I'm using this as an example because I was recently clearing up my files. I'm working on releasing something in the next day that's going to really help a lot of people. And so I was going through my old recordings of things that I've done, the different workshops, the different podcasts that I released, all of the things. And I came across this free workshop that I did around pushing through the fear. And I had a jam-packed, like, people were there, they were engaged, right? The fact that they came out in the middle of the week, of course, it was on Zoom, and engaged in a free workshop around, I don't remember the exact title, but it was around fear. I would consider that as someone who's high intent. Low intent would have been the people that clearly saw the offer and did not take me up on it, right? Because it wasn't like, it wasn't anything around job titles, it wasn't anything around resume writing, and it wasn't anything around salaries. And a better example that I'll give is, like, if you scroll back through my Instagram feed and look at my post, the post where I'm talking about job titles explicitly, and like salary ranges, those are high engagement posts. I'm gonna get people to like it. I'm gonna get, it's like they come out the woodwork, right? Um, However, when I post other posts where I'm really taking a deep dive on like a concept or a strategy, like I posted a play so valuable where I did a compare and contrast. Well, it was more of like a career pathway design for a new graduate of what they could do to strategically move into a macro job within 2 years, right? I got a lot of engagement for it on LinkedIn, but not so much on Instagram, right? It could be a matter of the algorithm, but this is a theme that I recognize. When I'm not talking about things that are job title, salary, this job is hiring, the people don't engage. Not as much, right? And I am attesting that now to, which I always knew it was a thing, I just didn't have a name for it. Those are my low intent people. Someone recently explained to me, like, those are the people with low context, right? It's the difference between low context and high context. And this is me having a realization, oh, in the career world, that's low intent, high intent. Doesn't make one better than the other, because I'm not for everybody. I talk to a very specific type of career seeker. I'm clear on that, but this helps me better explain it and explain it in a way so you can figure out the whole purpose of me bringing this conversation to you And so you can figure out which one are you. So you then can start making career moves based on that. Okay. So career moves and career decisions. So low intent characteristics, they have minimal effort in learning, limited interest in professional development. They easily are discouraged. They give up easily when faced with challenges. So that looks like if they put in one job application and didn't get a call for the job, they stop applying altogether and they sit in the same job for another 2 years until they get to the point of no return, and then they put in another application. Okay. And I also want to be clear that you can go from being low intent to high intent, because I've helped several hundred people, several thousand, I would say at this point, since I've jumped on the internet scene, go from low intent, from thinking about their career from a very reactive standpoint to being proactive. Okay. So minimal effort in learning. They're easily discouraged, limited networking. They neglect to build professional relationships. So those are the people in your job who don't want to get to know the new department down the hall or the new team across the street, or they don't want to go to the interdisciplinary meeting at the shelter where all of the nonprofits in town come together, but you do, right? That's what that looks like. They lack self-reflection, so they don't regularly assess their career progress. They are indifferent and disengaged, showing little enthusiasm for work. I do want to be clear though, when I was reading that breakdown of the characteristics, that is a whole lot of burnout too. So I want you to understand that you may at the core be high intent. However, you may be displaying low intent characteristics and behaviors because you are burned out. And in that situation, I have shared an endless number of resources and tools for you to work on your burnout and to go into burnout recovery. Because I refuse to work with someone who's burned out, because then you're low intent. This is why, and again, now I have the words to explain the things. And so mm-mm. Go take you a career sabbatical, go get you some rest, consult with an expert, address your burnout, and then come find me. I'm gonna just leave it at that. Okay. So I have broken down the characteristics and the traits of the differences between low intent, high intent. As you're listening to this podcast episode or watching it on YouTube, drop in the YouTube comments which one you identify as, or find me on social media. Tell me, email me is mp@martheapitts.com. I keep everything confidential, but share with me, because the point of me sharing this out loud is to plant the seed. Remember, I'm here to plant the seed, right? So you become aware and you will understand that you feeling stuck, you can shift to thriving. There's nothing wrong with you. It may just take a reframe and some strategies and techniques that I teach people. Okay. So we talked about a credential stacking phenomenon where people, in order to fix this thing, they just need another career. Also, I should mention there that on a deeper level, that's the fear in combination with the intent, right? Um, People who are motivated and willing to invest in their development, uh, like in their career development, but lack the strategic fundamentals to use these credentials effectively, will feel stuck, right? Um, and then ultimately it results in a fear of that without an ever-growing list of qualifications, that they won't be seen as valuable or capable. But when I was mentioning earlier around the fear, sometimes it can be a fear of getting too big. It can be a fear of being seen. It could be a fear of using your voice. It can be a fear of being judged. It can be a fear of being scrutinized, right? I'm always very clear to you all that Marthea 10 years ago would have never gotten on the internet. Why? Because I was a low-key perfectionist, people pleaser. I spent a lot of my time, I would say, in my hmm probably early 30s, 20s to 30s, really caring a lot about what people thought about me, how people received me, how people just what they thought about me, be it personal, be it family. And that's with the family part, even up until recently. Um, be it family or be it friends, be it co-workers in a professional setting. So I'm naming that so you are aware of it, that if you can easily identify that in your personal life, that may be some underlying fear that's impacting your potential to grow and get as big as you dream about in your mind in your career. I hope this is making sense. Um, so that's why I always talk to you all about confidence. You have to work on your confidence. You have to arm yourself with proven strategies and techniques. That's why what I teach my coaching clients, I work on both of those things simultaneously with them. I'm teaching them proven strategies and techniques to really take charge of their career, to brand themselves in the job market, to be able to explain to employers what they do to get the first job, but also how to strategically be making moves and strategic plans to grow, to grow and excel, to prepare them for the next level of responsibility. Right. So I always talk about like when people take demotions, how that not being a sound career strategy move. And it's not. It's you're doing it because you don't have enough information. And now learning what I've learned about low and high intent, I would maybe even put in like that's a characteristic and behavior of someone with low intent. Like you apply for a big job and then it feels too hard and you go back. Now, I'm not talking about like toxic leadership and you need to escape, and even then, you should be applying for a job in that same new level, but just in another department with another organization. But we do want to take that type of situation in consideration. Um, I wanted to also share that I really wanted to like emphasize the importance of those career development fundamentals and how important they are and why it's so important for you to understand how to build and communicate your professional brand, because you are focused on your first macro job. I am focused on your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth macro job. I've gotten very clear, a lot more clear over the last several months with the work that I do. And I don't just work with social workers. I work with the next generation of leaders. And again, this comes from me looking at all 15 of the cohorts that have come through my micro to macro career accelerator program and where they started out before working with me and where they are now career wise. And they all are on like completely different ends of the career spectrum. Before working with me, they were in very entry level, low level jobs that had no responsibility, no impact, that paid them. Not all. I want to be clear. Not every social worker makes low salaries. I want to be clear, but many of them were making little to nothing. Um, they were in very reactionary phases, like stages of their career life. And now they are thinking about their career on a whole. They're in higher level, higher responsibilities. I have micro to macro career accelerator clients who are now doing global level work, right? They are making the highest salaries they've ever made in their careers. And they really have moved to the thriving season of their life. So I say that to say that I am not made for people who just want a good job. And unfortunately, I'm working on I attract people like that, right? Because at times I get to the point where I see where you're going wrong. I just want to help you. However, because I'm so clear in the mission that I was given, I am focusing my efforts on really fostering and helping the next generation of leaders get what they need to get in the positions where they need to be and to really tap into their full potential. Because when you spend years in those low-level jobs, you are not at your full potential. That's why you feel so unfulfilled. That's why you feel so unsatisfied. That's why you dread it. That's why you hate it, because you haven't tapped into it. You're supposed to be doing something much bigger, right? And so I really am clear on the fact that I work with the next generation of leaders. Um, yeah, I just wanted to say that. Um, and so in order to be the next generational leader, the next generation of leader, in that generation of leaders, I'm thinking it through while I say it, you have to start doing the fundamental work now while you're in the case management job. You need to be thinking about your career as a whole now, over and beyond a degree and credential. You need to be slowing down now to effectively plan for your career. You need to be working now on intentionally branding yourself in your career, right? And so I've learned a lot from my coaching clients. So the last 3 months, I'm working on some stuff. I'm working on some stuff that's gonna really help y'all. Um, I've learned a lot from them, and that's what I love about them. Like, yeah, they pay me to be their coach, but they are so committed about creating change in the world that they do like focus groups and one-on-one focus group sessions with me so much. Like the insights that they give me helps me better understand like the largeness of what I've been given to do, but also it better helps me create things that help people step into their own greatness, right? So I love them so much, but a lot of them have had very candid conversations with me around where they were in their career before working with me and what has been some of the most pivotal like moments of our career coaching relationship that helped them shift from being low intent to high intent and really commanding and taking charge of their career. And I just wanted to tell y'all thank you, because I know y'all listen to the podcast episode. So yeah, I've had several coaching clients who have had 2 undergrad degrees, 2 master degrees, multiple certifications, and still felt stuck in their career, right? I've had people who were frustrated despite have like they were frustrated because they had the impressive resume. They were considered to be career goals, right? They did all of these roles, but did all of these things that people glamorize on those social work job title lists. However, they weren't advancing in their career. They still weren't getting past a certain point. A lot of them didn't have longevity. Um, and I mean longevity based on their new career focus. Like where they got to in the past was great based on the goals they had established for themselves at that time. But as their confidence built, as their focus got, more lasered in, their goals changed, right? And so they weren't in alignment with that. So I really help people understand, well, first identify and understand their career goals, and I help them build a professional brand and learn how to communicate their value. And that's how my people are able, but also working on their career confidence. Let me name that. And that's how they're able to go from within months from not applying to any macro jobs or applying to macro jobs and not getting any to securing a job that really truly aligns with their aspirations, and pays them significantly more. There's one of my coaching clients that I'm trying to get her on the episode. Um, she was getting in macro interviews the 45-day mark of my micro to macro career accelerator, but she wasn't getting job offers. And so I had to have a heart to heart with her, right? Because I am committed to you being great as you envision in your head. So I had to have a heart to heart with her. And I was like, explain to me what's happening in the interview when you get in there. I said, are you coming? I said, well, what's happening? Talk me through that. And so then I just blatantly asked it. Are you exuding confidence when you enter the room? And she admitted that she wasn't, and it was all virtual. She wasn't giving it off. And I was like, and this I had to have a heart to heart. I'm not gonna get into the details, but essentially, if you've been listening to me, you know how I talk on a certain level. I was just like, you gotta believe it. We've proven on paper that you've done it and that you are qualified. You have to believe it. I had that one conversation with her. Within 2 weeks, she had a macro job offer, right? So the confidence is huge. I've seen that in other people where I've had like 30-day career challenges with them, and I never even talked about their resume. I've given them strategies like how they can strategically position what they've done in the past to get a new job. But when it came down to the mechanics of writing a resume, I never taught them that. And they still landed a macro job, right? So for a lot of you all, it's the confidence. And confidence, based on what I've been doing with people over the past 4 years, comes from you seeing in black and white what you've done, as well as doing your internal work. So that's why you need a combination of both those things. So you see, I've leaned in. When I lean in, I'm career coaching. Okay, so the impact of high career intent is having high career intent is great. But without the strategies, like, so if you have multiple degrees, yeah, that's wonderful. But if you don't have the career development fundamentals and doing that confidence work, what I help my coaching clients do is going to lead to frustration and you feeling stagnated in your career. It's gonna happen if you're not already feeling it. So that's why you need to combine your high intent, right? With the right tools, the right strategies, the confidence work, so you can start achieving the incredible career success and having that fulfillment and that alignment that you so desperately want. You can't do one without the other. A lot of people are just doing it with the degree and it ain't working. So if you find yourself stacking credentials but still feeling stuck, it may be time to look at your career strategies. I cover these fundamentals in my workshops and my webinars, on my Instagram free content, and my podcast episodes. And I'm working on something exciting that I'm going to release tomorrow that will help you dive deeper into really moving to a place in your career where you are satisfied on a much deeper level. So as you reflect on this conversation today, drop in the comments and tell me, where are you in your career? Are you taking proactive steps towards your goals? Or are you relying on degree stacking, credential stacking to feel more secure, to prove your value in the job market? I want you to think about what changes you can make to leverage your high intent effectively. And find me on the internet and let me know. And also, if you want to chat more about it, click the link down in the episode show notes and schedule a free 15-minute get to know you chat. But be on the lookout. I'm releasing something soon to really, really help you out in a more intentional, meaningful way. Because really at the core, you're great. You know, you've identified some ways. You see the difference between you and the average social worker, case manager next to you, but you will never verbalize that you're great at what you do, because as a helping professional, you would feel like you're bragging, but you're not. In order for you to move from the point of survival to thriving, you're going to have to get comfortable with verbally saying, visually displaying how you were set apart from everyone else. Because right now you're just blending in. You just look like the 10 case managers who work in your organization who leadership know just sit around and talk about how bad the organization is and how much they hate it. You're blending into them. And that probably is rooted in perfectionism, being a people pleaser, all of the things. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But you're going to have to get to a point where you are really willing to set yourself apart because you know you're great. You just don't want to admit it out loud. That's how I help my people, my coaching clients build their confidence. I make them say how great they are. I make them run down their numbers. I make them run through their receipts on a weekly basis because that's how you get those high level jobs. That's how you get multiple six figures. That's how you get jobs doing groundbreaking work on different topics and issues that you see in your frontline work. That's how you get those jobs. But in order to do that, you can verbally say it all day. But if you don't believe it here, ain't nobody else gonna believe it. All right, I'm gonna go. I done fool la la enough with y'all today. I got a list of things to do. All right. Happy Maker Career Planning. Bye.